welcome back to the ME7 podcast, Lookback Live, brought to you by Balville and Grit Consultancy. We are here at Priestfield, a very dark Priestfield, as you can see, to discuss all the ongoings at ME7 since the Christmas period. We'll be joined by a panel of guests, as you see here, and it's going to be a conversation which will spark a lot of debate, I'm sure. Lots of positives, some negatives, and questions regarding what to expect for the remaining 3 or so days of the transfer window. May even be 2 now, I think it is. That's how quickly time goes when you are in a hurry. But rest assured, we'll be here for the next hour or so to discuss all of that, much more. And yeah, it's going to be an introduction that is going to spark a lot of debate, I'm sure. So joining us today, Tom, Jasper, first time back in a little while. Welcome back.
Thank you.
How long has it been?
I did the first show in the Legends Suite, so yeah.
Start of the season, wasn't it? Lewis, your first one in a while as well?
It's my first one since the last one, yeah, when we had the audience.
I wasn't there.
Your first one in a while.
That's gone well.
But he hasn't been on the Saturday shows for a while, apart from the other day, so it's the first time I spoke to you about Jules for a while anyway. And of course, my co-host James Hawkins. Hello.
Hello, mate.
So, let's get to it then. Last time we were on the show, or you were on the show, I wasn't here of course, I believe we were talking about the upcoming festive period, one that I don't want to say didn't go as planned, but could have got a little better. We're here to sort of dissect a lot of that and get up to speed of where we are currently. And I suppose the obvious question is, Tom, we'll start with you. The Christmas period, it on paper offered a lot, favourable fixtures, chance to get a good run of results. Stephen Clemence's first initial big period as manager, going into game against Forest Green, game against Crawley, Sutton, Colchester, etc. And I don't think it under-delivered, but I think it was sort of a reasonable return from what you would call a quite kind set of fixtures.
It was inconsistent as expected, I think. Obviously, we look at the Bradford and Crawley games, both home fixtures, both winnable on paper, and obviously both didn't deliver. Then we go on a good run and go and beat Colchester. Obviously, Accrington as well. We had that win there, and but I think if you ask any Gills fan on social media, they will say that it's, as you said, it's kind of flattered to deceive a little bit. Games that we maybe could have won but didn't, games that we did scrape through and win. It's the inconsistency, I think, that drives us a little bit mad as fans, because we'd love to go on a winning run. But when we do, it seems kind of, to fall back into old habits again. So, I think Clemens is starting to sort of get what he wants out of the team. We've put in some good performances over the sort of past few weeks over that period. But I think a lot of Gills fans will still say that we're still missing a few key things.
Yeah, Lewis, on those key things, we have got some success over the Christmas period with wins against Sutton. We obviously went to Colchester and won the game against Accrington as well. But I suppose the question on everyone's lips as a Gills fan, and has been for probably the last 2 years or so, is how are we not managing to score goals regularly? And just disclaimer before anyone starts listening to this isn't me setting up to Johnson Clark Harris is about to walk through the door and this is a big bravado. No, it's not. No signings on this episode today, I'm afraid, unless no. Lewis, it was a period where obviously we got good results in certain areas, somewhat unconvincingly you could argue. The Sutton game here, we had to work hard for it. The Colchester game, once we got the first goal, we could have probably got 2 or 3, just got the 1 in the end. That was enough, thankfully. But as much as it's been good to get results, which is all anyone cares about, there are still certain issues, isn't there, really? One big one in particular, which is goal scoring.
Yeah, I think Tom sums it up well with the inconsistency, and I suppose that's why we are where we are, really, just sort of outside the playoffs. If we were getting results you'd expect, Crawley at home, Forest Green home and away, then we'd be competing for the top 3, which we're not doing. Goal scoring, we know it's been an issue. I suppose it gets a bit repetitive talking about it sometimes, but Walker's come in. We might see some outgoings up front as well, who knows. We're a bit up in the air with Ollie Hawkins' injury as well, so that's an issue. But that win at Accrington, I think we surprised everyone, really, coming from behind to win, because I think it was since last February we've not done that, so that was a relief. But I think Clements is getting almost what he can out of this squad, really. You know, someone made the point on social media the other day that 2 of his signings have done well. You know, Hutton and Walker. You know, I know Walker's only had 20 minutes or so, but coming off the bench and getting a goal, I would imagine he starts this weekend, and Hutton's played really well as well in his couple of games. So, yeah, I think, you know, Clements is eking what he can out of the squad with a system that he probably didn't want to play, but it is just the inconsistency that is going to plague us, and the goal scoring as well, which hopefully, you know, we can find a solution, but it's not gonna happen quickly. I think that might be something that is addressed more towards the end of the season, and then this run in now is just about trying to find results one way or another.
Yeah, we'll get on to Stephen Clements in depth very, very shortly. But James, on the Christmas period, just to sort of, I suppose, round off your overall feelings of it going into the new year as we go back in time a little bit. We obviously, well, I certainly looked at the games beforehand, the Forest Green, the Crawley, Sutton and the Colchester as a really massive period for this season, because it was one where, you know, on paper, obviously the game's not played on paper, it's such an old cliche, but it was a massive opportunity to get a lot of points on the board going into a January window where you can only improve on things. There was a lot of frustration. The first 2 games, the draw at Forest Green was a game which, you know, I think if you look at all the football games in the centre of the universe, which ones have been replayed the most, I think that would be right down the bottom. And the Crawley game obviously disappointing at home, and then we did get those 2 wins, Sutton and Colchester, not convincing, but we got them done. What was your overall feelings when we hit the end of December, heading into January, with obviously the window in front of you, not knowing what was to come in that window, but knowing where we were at the time and looking back on the Christmas period?
Yeah, I think like Tom says, is that level of inconsistency. I just felt that Boxing Day we completely rolled over to a poor Crawley side. They've not improved since, in all honesty. I know a lot of Gills fans appreciate what Scott Lindsay does down there, but the both times that I've seen them this season, I've not been impressed, but they've rolled us over that here. It was the same with the Forest Green game on the Friday night. We were extremely poor. But then you flip it to obviously the Sutton game on the 29th, and to be fair to Sutton, they defended really well on that Friday night. But it come down to the fact of us just, I know we got the winner and we ended up winning the game, but it just felt a bit flat coming out of that night, in all honesty. I know a lot of people moaned about the 1-0 wins earlier on in the season. It felt like that. It felt like we just sort of scraped through it. And then obviously the Colchester win. Again, we had a 15-minute spell where we were really good, and we nearly threw the game away. And I think that's where I think Clements is probably learning about his side, is that we go through, it was the same on Saturday at MK Dons, we go through these short 10-15 minute spells where we are really good and we are on top of sides, but then we just don't put the ball in the back of net on when we're on top, and that's our problem, is that we're not capitalising when we're in control of games, and that's a big problem. That's a big issue, because sides in this league, i.e. MK Dons, if you don't punish your sides and you don't take chances, you got to punish yourself, and that's Clements hit the nail on the head on Saturday. Currently, where I see this side, we're a nearly team. He got that bang on the money on Saturday in his interview. It was an excellent interview from him. He's the best one he's done since he's been in the job, for sure. But at the moment, we're a nearly team, and that's our frustration, I think.
Tom, we're going to get into the manager, Stephen Clements, in just a second, but just came to my head whilst James talking about that Sutton game. A bit remiss of us not to mention and congratulate also the goal of the month winner in the whole of, was it the whole of EFL or the whole of League 2, was it? I think it was League 2. Could well have been the EFL when you look at the goal, but let's have a quick word from everyone on that strike that beat Sutton. Where does that goal from Scott Malone rank in recent goals we've seen?
We haven't seen many, so it's got to be pretty high. The thing with that is that someone like Scott Malone, only he would have executed that chance, I think, in that way. I think we, as a team, as a squad, we are very shot shy in terms of outside the box or shooting from that sort of position. Only he, I think, would have had, and maybe Mahoney would have had the ability to put that in the way he did. Because let's face it, sometimes we have a shot from outside the box and we go, oh God, where's it going to go? like panic. But he was just inside the box. He controlled it really well. It was perfectly in the corner. I think all of the block sort of videos that slowed down really show how much of a decent strike it was. So yeah, it was I know, endorsement, right? Endorsement. It was a great goal, and I think in that game we needed it because we were huffing and puffing. We weren't blowing down that door, but that's all it needed was that one strike that stood out, I think.
Who's going to cry on the panel about his shush to the fans? Anyone going to moan about it?
No, do it. do more of it. Do more of it.
Yeah, Lewis, it was like Tom says, if you're going to back anyone in this squad currently to be able to pull off something like that, is, you know, with the slow motion videos from that company that did the video, it was just the slow mo, the technique, the cut across the ball. I think the best thing for me was the reaction of I don't know who it was, a Sutton player on the line. He sees it going behind him, he sort of just shrugs like, you know, what can you do about that?
Yeah, I think, you know, players can dip in and out of form. There's been, you know, people have been calling for Max Clark to get some game time, and that was sort of in a way the reason why Malone did that celebration that everyone cried about. But yeah, in terms of general quality, you know, him, Connor Mahoney, people like Johnny Williams, Ethan Coleman, to be fair, has had a few outside the box that have nearly gone in. But yeah, I think you're right. James makes a good point that it was a bit of a weird one where, you know, it helped that the goal was good and the coverage from Nick was great as well. But in terms of the result, obviously they had 10 men, worst team in the league, and it was a bit of like, God, finally. But I know the goal was great and that was worth celebrating on its own. But it wasn't like it was a last minute winner against, you know, we were together at Stockport, that sort of thing. But yeah, in terms of the actual goal, can't argue with it, and probably our goal of the season, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Oh, I think is Nick going to show it? Is he?
Do you want to see it?
Go for it.
See it.
That's how. The replay of Scott Malone's fantastic winner against Sutton, fantastically filmed. Yeah, we should get in contact with whoever did that. It might be worth a job. But yeah, a great goal, worthy of winning a game. And yeah, let's get on to the actual manager himself, Stephen Clements, because I think, Tom, for probably the first few games, people were watching the Stephen Clements side, trying to understand his philosophy, his autoristic style of football, if you like. And I remember the first game I saw was, I think it was against Fulham's under-21s in the Pepperoni Passion Cup, which obviously is not, you know, the best way of judging, you know, two different teams. They're very much a team of kids. We made a lot of changes. It's hard to really identify massive changes. And we went to Hereford in the FA Cup, 2-0 win, expected to win that game again. Difficult to really look into it too much. But from what you've seen in a longer period, this is, you know, further on from the Christmas period now and up to what you've seen so far, are you starting to see more of a style? Because obviously we've gone from the back four against Harris to now a back three or back five, depending on how you look at it. And it's certainly a change in style, and one that's enjoyed by some of the players, which we'll hear from next week. But yeah, what have you made of the initial style that Clements has been trying to implement and the success it's had so far?
I think it was a slow burner. I think obviously a lot was made of the fact that, you know, Harris went for whatever reason, and I think the style of football was a key feature in that. So when Clements was brought in to sort of bring us, you know, attacking, entertaining football, and it didn't happen instantly, there was a bit like, right, so what's happening here, you know? But those more rational would know that he needs time to implement his style of football amongst players that maybe haven't been adept at doing that. You don't see a lot of it at League Two, frankly. You don't see a lot of teams, you know, playing us off the park. You see a lot of nitty-gritty football, a lot of long ball. You see a lot of, you know, battling rather than playing attractive, you know, entertaining football. So I think it was always going to take time to sort of work its magic with us. We have seen a lot of changes in terms of possession stats, chances being made. Goals hasn't yet obviously hit the heights, but I think the chances that we're making now, we're having spells in games where we are putting a lot of emphasis on going forward, putting crosses in the box. We're just, as James said earlier, we're just not quite making the grade when it comes to goals. So there has been an improvement for me in terms of the, you know, the way that we've been playing. I think you mentioned the style in terms of the formation. I think we tried it because we realised that all three centre backs were decent enough to be starting. Now it's just finding a balance, right? You know, having the two strikers that he wants up top, having the midfield three to be sort of in harmony together, because we've made a lot of changes in terms of personnel, and if it hasn't worked out, we brought somebody else in, and then we brought somebody else in. He just needs to have now a settled 11 that he can play in terms of personnel. The formation seems to be working now. It's just making sure that we've got the players kind of, you know, working together on that. But overall, I'm quite happy with what I'm seeing. It's not translating to win after win after win, but the wins that I have seen us put out have been down to us being quite solid at the back, but also more imposing up front as well.
It is important to remember, isn't it, because obviously this is a team who, you know, the style of Harris compared to Clemens is very, very different. They also had that period of middle in between for 3 or 4 games, I think it was. And when you're, you know, a player in a footballing side, you're set to play in one way, especially the ones who were here with Harris last year would have been more used to that. And obviously the ones who come in during the summer will be used to it for a period, and then it changes a bit with Millen, just slightly, and then again it's a completely overhaul style really with Clemens, isn't it? And it will take a long time. Obviously as football fans, we're all guilty of this. We all want success yesterday, don't we? But it is a case of patience in certain areas. And I think Tom makes a good point of, you know, it would be a lot worse if we weren't creating chances. We are doing that, but again, it's the old issue, isn't it? And I don't really want to. We don't want to talk about it too much, but it is hard to ignore. And we're doing in some games anything but score. You know, I think the prime example, and I said this on Saturday's episode, if people listen to it, that I think the moment where Romeo Hutton puts the ball across the goal line against MK Dons, it 9 times out of 10 it either hits one of their players, and goes in. It doesn't do that, it misses everyone. I think that just sort of summed up our goal scoring this season, and it sort of epitomised in one movement.
Yeah, there was one here as well against Forest Green. I think it was when the free kick sort of went across field and Ogie got the end of it and put it across goal, and I was desperate for Bond to sort of be in the position that he wasn't. And I think we've got to a point now as well, which ironically we were sort of in towards the back end of Harris's reign, where we were creating decent chances but not putting them in the net, doing it in a very different way. I think Clements came in and he's learning as well. We've got to remember that this is his first job in charge of a team, and I think when he came in, he wanted to play, you know, past the death football almost. You could count the amount of long balls or direct balls on one hand in his first couple of games. Then there was a game, I can't remember which one, and it almost sort of switched and we went the other way. I think it was obvious he wanted to play the 4-3-3, but he seems to settled on a system now. He sort of found a balance where he can compromise between what he wants to do and what the squad is capable of in terms of the players he's got. You know, we've got 3 very good centre-backs at the minute. Both our wing-backs are very good as well. You know, maybe there's a gap in midfield, but it allows us to get 2 up front, and it allowed us to get Oliver Hawkins in the side, which has been a big plus, where his physicality has helped a lot. You know, and we probably wouldn't want him to have played on his own. So I think that's a big plus as well. And I think in the summer we could probably see a few changes. It's almost as if when Harris started with the back 3 to try and keep us in the league, and then in the summer, you know, although he didn't get as many changes as he wanted, he was trying to implement his own style a little bit more. So I think we might see that in the summer with Clements sort of potentially going back to the 4-3-3, signing a few more players. I mentioned earlier that the 2 players he has signed have been impressive so far. So yeah, I think he's found a decent balance. We're not going to be the perfect side, but if we can somehow sneak into those playoffs, you know, maybe Walker can hit the ground running, or Macaulay Bond can get a few running the side, that sort of thing. Then we'll try and do what we can with what we've got this season and see what happens.
Obviously, James, it's too early to properly judge Clemens in terms of, you know, knee-jerk reactions. I think if we don't get the playoffs this season, he's got to go. That won't be the case, I'm sure. And you know, with this window, obviously 2 days now away from it being closed, you've got 2 in so far. What, from you, if whether we take away where you want us to finish, where we might finish, what would you consider to be a good aspiration to have from seeing Stephen Clements' side from now into the end of the season in terms of progression in a more noticeable and autistic style of his? Something you want to watch his Gillingham team play from now into the season. What's the one thing you want to see more than anything, regardless of where we may or may not finish?
I think Tom hit the nail on the head. Is that he's got to? We've got to see that consistent style of play. I think we actually probably played the best football under him in the first half at MK on Saturday. I felt that we played the best football we'd played under him in his reign. against an informed side, probably one of the best in the league. And for me, look, I know I've said it on social media and whatever else, and said that this season would be a failure to get into the playoffs. And yeah, look, everyone wants promotion and everyone wants success and whatever else. But I think for me, probably looking at it from a longer term point of view, I think if we see a team that have got an identity, a manager that's got an identity, a team that actually want to be there and play for the football club, and we just miss out on the playoffs by playing that way, but we're all entertained, I think I could probably take that. I think what I probably can't take is if we just whittle away this season and we end up 12th, 13th, we end up miles off the playoffs, we end up just going in within ourselves. That's when I will get quite annoyed with it. So I think, yeah, for me, he's got a couple of days to get in who he wants. I think it's clearly evident on Saturday that we are quite a way off from personnel-wise at Stephen Clement's side. I think there are quite a few players in there that are just not him, are just not the way he wants to be. You're seeing the ones being left out of the squad, for example, are the ones that he doesn't want anymore. But that's going to take time. But I think success will be managed on, can we be playing the right way, winning games, and if that means we just about miss on the playoffs, then yeah, I would class that as relatively successful.
Yeah, Tom, we'll circle back to this later on with Stephen Clements when we talk about future games in the upcoming month. But there is a bit of news that we need to get into. Obviously, not transfer news, because we've discussed both of the incomings already so far. We'll get into them a bit more detail later on. But news that broke yesterday, first, I think it is off. Oh no, it was like second outgoing. Of course, sorry, Lewis. Our second outgoing of the window, that is Che Alexander leaving the club, announced yesterday, I believe it was, termination of contract, so not a loan or a permanent deal with another club. I'm sure he'll find one in due course. Obviously, with it being a contract rip up, it means he's free to go and find a club after the window whenever he wants, so it's good for him. But what did you make of the news when you first saw it? Obviously, with the signing of Romeo Hutton and Rob McKenzie still being at the club, it would have left us with three right backs. So Che has stayed. Were you at all surprised by it, or do you see it as a decision by the management and the player that's probably best for all parties?
Firstly, how did you forget Lewis Walker for a start? You'll be living that one down for a long time. No, I think there was a certain air of inevitability about Che going. He'd been first choice right back / right wing back for quite a while. So he wouldn't have wanted to just turn up and play reserve. He wouldn't have wanted to sort of be maybe in the squad 1 week and then out of the squad the next week. He would have been wanting to go and play football somewhere else. So it works for him to be on his way. He was out of contract, I think, at the end of the year anyway. So I think realistically it was a foregone conclusion that he would go. He's someone that I thought would probably go last window in January, so this time last year. But then he ended up staying, and he actually played really well for the second half of last season. I think a lot of us were kind of, politely surprised about how obviously he kicked on last season. But he hadn't quite hit the heights this time around. I don't know. Obviously, people can theorise about why that might have been. Maybe he wasn't able to do the right wing back position, sort of the combined element of attacking and defending. And a couple of high profile sort of errors along the season might have sort of added to that as well. But I liked him. I just don't think I think we're looking at with Hutton coming now, I think maybe we're looking at a slightly higher quality of wing back, who's a more natural wing back than Che is. So his time in the team was limited. Where he goes next, he might find another League Two club, but potentially more sort of National League might be his area. But wish him well. He put a lot of effort in to us, but I think his time was up.
Yeah, he made quite a few appearances for the Gills, Lewis, so I won't tell you the exact number because you might need that later on. But I think what Tom's saying is, if you remember back to last January, he was one of the most improved players from last January to the end of the campaign. Obviously picked up the goal of the season award for the goal against Wimbledon, obviously against his former side, big moment for him. But I think he's not just the only one. I think there are a fair few examples of this, but he just hasn't really carried over that form this season, has he? And I think we all knew when we signed Romeo Hutton from Swindon, with Mackenzie still being here, it's probably going to be a case of either him or Robbie were moved on, because you don't need 3 right backs in there, do you? That's the black and white of it. Unfortunately, it is Shay who has dropped out. No hard feelings, of course. We all wish him the best. But yeah, what do you make of overall of his time at ME7 from I think it was last summer he was signed, maybe the summer before? No, because he played against opening day at Wimbledon, didn't he? Because he made an error on my birthday. Yeah, so he's been here quite a while. But what did you make of his time at the club overall?
Yeah, I think it was a bit up and down. Like Tom said, I thought he was one of the players that would probably be replaced. In January, I think for a lot of the time it was Robbie McKenzie would play one side of fullback, and then it would be Alexander or Tutonda, who were both performing quite poorly, I think it's fair to say, and it'd just be a flip of a coin which one played that week. But when we had our turnaround and players came in, Alexander upped his game. I thought he did really well last season. As you've all said, in our recovery, I sort of tweeted that, he played a big part of the turnaround last season, and it hasn't translated to this season. I think a lot of people began to identify that right back was probably a position that needed strengthening. That was the first sort of area we did strengthen, obviously with Hudson coming in, and McKenzie can cover there as well. So yeah, I think it's fair enough. Like Tom said, it works for him. He can obviously leave the club and pick someone up, and he's not under pressure to do it in the next couple of days. So yeah, it's just an area where we've improved our side, and he's not got a place in the team anymore. So fair enough to everyone involved, I think. But yeah, overall, I think he was a good player. I'm not going to look back on his time and say it was poor or anything. I quite liked him, and now is just the time to move on.
James, do you think maybe it was a case of with Hutton coming in, that everyone looked at it and they sort of thought, well, we don't need 3 right backs, and maybe looked at Robbie and thought the fact that he can play either side, he can also play midfield, that versatility, obviously is what we really know him for, most of the versatile of the club, maybe was the reason that they opted to go with Shay as the one to leave this window and keep Robbie in, just because of that versatility.
Yeah, it probably is that, to be honest. Is that obviously moving into the back 3 system, Shay can only play in that position where Robbie can obviously play the 2, and also the quality of Romeo Hutton as well is that we've seen it in both the games, that he's exactly what Clements has been after. Clements mentioned on Kent Online the other day that in his interview here when he first got the job, is that he wanted to get more crosses into the box. And I mean, it's fantastic that the football club have gone and signed someone that gets the most crosses in the league, also gets the most assists in basically the whole of England. It's an incredible signing. In all fairness, I know some Swindon fans want to try and slag him off, but you saw his quality on Saturday at MK Dons. I thought he was absolutely outstanding down that right hand side. And in no disrespect to Shay, the level has just gone up about 2 or 3 gears since he's walked through the door, and that's the level of quality you get. And when you've got a 6'5", 6'6" striker, whatever Ollie Hawkins is, the standing in the box, you need someone that can bloody cross the ball. And Hutton 9 times out of 10 is doing it. People say whatever, he should have scored at MK on Saturday, but it's extremely tight angle. Someone should have been on the end of it, in all honesty. But yeah, that's the whole reason Shay has gone. You need to and to be honest, if we want to sign people in the next couple of days, you need to get players out the door before you can get them in. It's not as easy as just signing and adding numbers and numbers. You've got to get people out the door. So I can imagine that's probably a part of it as well.
Yeah, this next player we're going to talk about is, it's not going to last as long. I know the debate is more of a me thing. But let's get your opinion on the big news story of January. That is obviously Lewis Walker moving back to Woking, I should say. A tough time at Gills, obviously, never really got too much an opportunity. A horrible injury against Dagenham in an FA Cup replay, I believe it was, on a pitch that really wasn't playable. But in a game that we won, it put him out for a very, very long time. And his Gills career never really recovered from that, did it, Tom? But he's gone on to Woking, or back to Woking, as I say now, and I suppose we wish him all the best. And it was one of them cases where he was probably...
Do you not want to send a message to him?
I can't tell what you're saying. Oh, I've sent him enough Instagram messages. He won't. I don't want to get blocked. But yeah, Tom, it was one of those where he was signed. He was signed at a time pre-takeover. Probably fitted the mould of the signings we were able to attract at that point in time. I do remember when we first signed him. Everyone thought it was his brother Tyler. Thank God it wasn't. But yeah, how would you sum up his very short time in terms of actual on-fields with Gills?
It's as you say, it will be a short one. I think, as you said, we signed him with the hope that we might have unearthed a bit of a gem there. I think he'd been at Como and a few other Italian teams, and for one reason or another, obviously he didn't get a run in games. He then obviously got the injury. Maybe in that window we might have moved him on a loan to get a few more games, but we didn't because obviously because of his injury. He wasn't ever really going to get back into the team this summer, unfortunately. So it was kind of over before it restarted, in terms of league action especially. It was just unfortunate, really. As you said, we were shopping in a completely different market back in the sort of the summer of last season. Like Jordan Green and the likes, obviously all came from different areas, but it was unfortunate, but I don't think he was ever going to match what we were looking for in terms of a 10-15 goal season striker. I'm sorry to say, Owen, but yeah, we do wish him well for whatever next.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm just going to move to the side a bit before I say this. I think, sorry, I will move back. I think it's, it was an underwhelming signing.
Get out.
Like Tom said, it was what the market we were shopping in. It was more numbers than anything, I think. It was underwhelming. His career, I don't think he was ever going to be good enough. And I think he was probably the one player that came over to this season from last season that was still part of that era, if you like, the Jordan Greens and Miko Mandron, and I don't think he's ever going to be good enough, really. That's the honest truth. And, wish him all the best. I'm sure he's a nice guy. You seem to be best mates with him. But, yeah, all the best in his new career, I suppose.
I don't know about that. He's not replying to his Instagram. It's just...
No, he does. The problem is I want that signed shirt from him from this season, but I don't think he's actually worn one. So
Now we'll block
You
you.
have to get a pre-season one, maybe.
James, wrap us off on the Lewis Walker section.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like Tom said and like Lewis said, he was never gonna break. I mean, he couldn't stay fit. I think that was the problem.
He was assaulted.
It was the
By you.
yeah. We're not going down this road. Yeah, I think like didn't he score against Dover in pre-season, and then I think 48 hours later he ended up unfit again, and that was the issue.
When we went to Como and he was the one name off the list, wasn't he? Then we didn't hear about it for ages.
Yeah, and so that was the problem, is that he showed glimpses in trophy games that he had ability, but he just couldn't keep himself fit, and that was the problem. Was that is the problem. If you can't keep yourself fit as a footballer, then your career's going down the pan, isn't it? And good luck to him. He's obviously gone awoken. I think he's scored a couple of goals from already. Yeah, just obviously wish him all the best, definitely.
Yeah, well, I need a minute to compose myself. And whilst that's going on, Nick is going to show you a lovely little block video, and we'll be back very, very soon to discuss the transfer window in more depth, particularly incomings. We're back. We're talking about the FA Youth Cup, which Jules lost to Sunderland the other day. Sorry, I just had to break that up somehow. Shame for them. Anyway, we're back now, abruptly. So yeah, we were going to talk about we talked about the outgoings so far in January. Now it's time to talk about the incomings, or the two we have at this moment in time. Still two. But yeah, we've seen both of them in action. One of them very limited, obviously 25 minutes. Josh Walker. So let's start off with Romeo Hutton. Tom arrived from Swindon Town. We all know it seems to be no secret now that he was set to join Stockport up until very recently, until Nick went and kidnapped him in his car with his camera equipment along with Phil. And the next day he was an ME7 as a duals player. Came with a great reputation, as we know, someone who likes to cross the ball, someone who likes to get assists. There's a lot of anticipation for his debut against Forest Green, a game which obviously ended up being very frustrating altogether with a point against a very poor side. But he was one of the standouts, and certainly when you look at his performance on Saturday against MK Dons, he was certainly one of the standouts. Very, very good performance from him, and it seems to be one of the signing. Well, I say one, I've only made two of them, but certainly one that's going to be pivotal if we are going to be addressing those playoff positions coming into the year.
Yeah, and importantly as well, he's someone who fits the system that Clements is already playing with us. So he's like, he wants a right wing back that will go forward, that will cross. And he's got someone who does just that, which is important because Clements is now starting to put his own stamp on the team, including signings. As you say, an improvement on what we had before. Swindon fans talk about his lack of ability to defend. Now, obviously, we can take that with a pinch of salt because realistically, it's going forward that we need to make the progress. So, been impressed with what I've seen so far. Obviously, the ability to cross into our strikers is something that we are looking out for. Historically, we're pretty poor when it comes to our deliveries from both set pieces and open play. So let's hope Hutton can try and turn that around. I'm hoping we see good things from him still, and hoping that all of the assists and all the stats that he's brought from previous clubs translate onto us as well.
Yeah, Lewis, obviously it's a signing now, obviously, given the circumstances with Johnny Williams, the same sort of story back in the summer when he was set to join Bradford. It's happened again, essentially. But he's one of those names where I remember when we played them at the county ground this season, obviously they didn't score a goal, but I remember he came close, he cut on his left-hand side, shot down, it was saved by Jake Turner. But he is someone that brings you a bit of optimism, doesn't he, in terms of signings. Sometimes we've made signings in the past, pre-Gallinson, where you have to check the name on Wikipedia 100 times to try and recognise who it is. But this is one of these, as soon as the name came out, everyone knew who he was, everyone knew what he could bring. Obviously, as James said earlier, with Swindon fans, when you sign someone off another team, they're always going to give negative reviews because they're, not very happy that he's left and they're just trying to cope. But I think it is a signing, like Tom says, it's going to be very interesting for now until the end of the season. Certainly next year, he's, with all due respect to Shea, who's obviously now left, and Robbie, he is, there's another way of putting it, an instant upgrade in that position, isn't he?
Yeah, I think from a footballing point of view, he's such an exciting signing. I was so happy with it when it was announced. I think, as I said earlier, I think that was a area that needed strengthening. I think he is, one of the best in the league. There's no doubt about that. James mentioned the stats in terms of assists, and he said it himself in his interview. He wants to bring lots and lots of crosses. Obviously, he was about to join the best team in the league as well. So, yeah, it's a massive thumbs up from that side of things. I think Clements, he's only been able to sign 2 players. We said it before that, he's going to have to try and get the most he can out of the squad he's got at the minute, and then perhaps try and sign a few more in the summer. But yeah, I think it's someone who adds a really different and really positive dimension to our attack, and he can play right back as well. But as Tom said, from a right wing back point of view, he's a massive asset to our team. There's been questions about whether he can play the same side of Mahoney or whatever, because they probably are 2 most creative players now. But yeah, something to work on. But yeah, no complaints from me. I think it's a really exciting, addition to the team.
I think, James, we do have to give a lot of credit to Stephen Clements for the signing, because as Lewis mentioned, he was set to join Stockport. Obviously, a player won't join unless they're convinced by a manager's project and what their ambitions are. So it says a lot about how well Stephen's done to get Romeo's signature, seeing as he was clearly set to sign for a team who is gone against a team who are basically guaranteed to be promoted this year to come and join us. And that says a lot about how he was sold the project of Gillingham by Stephen Clements.
Yeah, considering Clements has obviously only been there 3 months, it's obviously good that he's managed to convince Romeo to join the club. I think he said in his interview, Romeo, that he's excited by the project. He's excited by the owners. I mean, with people like Brad and Shannon, why wouldn't you be? We all know that they love the football club dearly. So I'm pretty sure that they're easy people to speak to, aren't they? So I guess when a footballer turns up here and you've got to try and sort of sell them the football club, I guess people like Clements and Brad and Shannon are easy people to speak to and get along with, and that probably made him feel at home straight away. And then obviously he knew some of the players here as well. But yeah, credit to Clements. He's obviously sold to him what he wants from him, and you can see that straight away in his first 2 games that what he's bringing, certainly down that right hand side. The amount of I don't think I've ever seen the amount of crosses from one player in his first 2 games since Hutton's arrived. So yeah, he's bringing something different. And like Tom said, let's hope it turns eventually into goals.
Yeah, Brad and Shannon, very easy people to talk to. It was a nightmare trying to get into actually filming this, trying to get them to go away. Kept me yapper. Anyway, but with the point of crosses, it is important, isn't it, Tom? Because I think we spoke on an episode a long time ago where I've said to, I think it was Lewis, that we had actually the lowest percentage of crosses into the box, which is something that Stephen Clements pointed out when he first joined, as something that was really concerning. And, there's one way to address that issue, and that's by bringing in someone who puts in the most crosses and has the most assists in England.
Yeah, and as I said before, I've been watching Gills for a long time, and I struggle to think of a few players that have a natural ability to put a decent cross in time after time. We do struggle with our balls into the box. So if you can bring someone in that's got that specific quality about them, then I'm all for it. Realistically, you can say what you like about Hutton defensively, but attacking is what we need him for most of all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing whether the kind of what was dangling in front of our faces is in terms of his ability to put a decent cross in will sort of result in more goals. It might take some time, but if our centre forwards know that a decent ball is coming in, they're more likely to be ready for it in the box rather than unsure or sort of hanging back, not waiting.
Yeah, we'll start with you, Tom, just to bring in our second joke. I'll stop doing that now. It's a tired joke. Our second player of the window. One walker out, another one in.
Wouldn't it be great if he actually is?
It's Lewis Walker saying, "Stop following me on Instagram."
Yeah. I can change anyway. So one walker out, another one in. This is the signing, of course, that was released on Thursday last week, maybe Friday. The arrival of Josh Walker, someone who was very, very well known in the National League for scoring goals both for Barnet and for Dagenham and Redbridge. Got one in an FA Cup tie against Gills last season at the Dagenham ground, whatever that's called, in a 1-1 draw before coming here for the replay. I feel like he scored the second goal in the replay, but I can't, maybe not. But regardless, went to Burton, made the jump from the National League to League One. Didn't quite go where I'd wanted it to. I think he scored the 3 goals. He arrived there January last year. It's not really worked out how he would have wanted to. There's the obvious argument that maybe he made the step from the National League to League One a bit early because it is a obviously big jump to miss out League Two and just go straight to League One. Maybe that's why it hasn't worked out. But goal scoring is all about confidence. He comes on for 20 minutes on Saturday, gets what turned out to be a consolation. It's easy for him to miss, but he anticipated it well. We got in the right position. He put the ball in the back of the net, and for a debut after only playing 20 minutes, regardless of how easy or difficult a goal is, it will do no harm to get off the mark very early on. Yeah,
and the key word you've used there is anticipation. I think we've lacked that killer instinct all season in terms of our strikers being in that position that they need to be in to put the ball away, no matter how messy it gets. Realistically, when it comes to Walker as a signing, he's a low risk signing. He's a loan signing. He's not our player for 2-3 years. He's our player until the end of the season. If he can go and get some goals for us, then great. Realistically, he may have made that jump to League One too quickly, but only now he's got a chance at League Two level to put in some impressive displays, score some goals. If he can do that and score 5 to 10 goals, he'll already be, our top scorer, which kind of shows the impact that he could have. So looking forward to seeing what he can do, whether he will start Saturday, whether he'll play alongside Hawkins or Bon or whoever. I think now we need to actually have a consistent front two to give them time to mould together rather than playing a different one each week when we're trying to find the right balance together. But yeah, I hope he starts now. I hope he kicks on, and I hope that he can score some goals. Simple as.
Yeah, Lewis, I think we were sort of the same opinion when it's first announced. We're more the neutral side, not negative about it, not overly positive about it either. But sometimes these players who might not be the biggest names coming in can prove to be one of the more useful ones. And obviously, I know people always arc back to the argument of Tom Eaves' record before joining us for Dane Oliver's, etc. And this might well be one of those cases. But from what you've seen so far, we're only a very small pool to really get an opinion on that 20 minutes NK Don. But he got his goal, which is a lot quicker than a lot of strikers managed to score goals was this year. So with that being said, it will do him well for his confidence, and I think you'll be the same as me, feeling that he is someone who will be able to bring something and play a part for the remainder of the campaign.
Yeah, I get the feeling that he's someone that backs his ability and, knows what he's about. League 2 is potentially his level. As Tom said, maybe, or it might be new actually, maybe he jumped up a level or 2 levels too early. Yeah, like he knows where the net is. He's a different player. He's a confident player. I think he offers something a bit better than what we've got. And I was saying outside, individually, I like all our strikers, but it's not really working. And I think now he will start Saturday. I'll be surprised if he didn't. I think if Ollie Hawkins is fit, he plays with him. If not, it's Macaulay Bon. And yeah, it's exciting. He's been identified on talent rather than his record potentially, where a lot of people were a bit disappointed by the sign-in potentially because of an unsuccessful spell at Burton, whereas he's got the attributes that we've been missing, and having a goal already is great, and excited to see what he could do from the start here on Saturday.
Yeah, James, I think the reason we have to be optimistic is because I was speaking to a few Burton fans about him, and they said he's a player who works hard, is a decent finisher, but he was played out wide a lot of the time for Burton, which obviously when you take in that information when you sign a striker, it does change your perception on the goal scored, assists, etc. when you're playing not through the middle. But I thought what we saw from him in a pair with Macaulay Bon, obviously Macaulay obviously having come in on for Ollie Hawkins, who came off injured, there was reasons to be optimistic. I like their playing together. I thought there was good signs of link up. There were good little 1-2s here and there. And he scored his first touch, I believe, from a free kick, did get his goal. So I think there is reason to be optimistic. You might not have the best goal record coming into this Gillingham team, but if ever there's a place to come into it, if ever there's a club to come into when you've got a bad goal scoring record and you want to feel nice at home, this is the place.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I think even if it was a tap in on Saturday, look, he's got to be in the right place at the right time, hasn't he? And he's put it in, and let's hope he can kick on from here, because we've struggled all season to score goals, and look, if he comes in and scores bundles in his first few games, then Gills fans are gonna do what they usually do, slag a player off, and then the next time they speak about him, he's a hero. It's a fickle game, isn't it? So look, he showed some smart touches against MK, got his goal. Let's hope he kicks on, because we need to find some goals and find them quickly.
Yeah, we certainly do, and I believe we will. But the window isn't closed yet, gents. Still got 2 days to see what's going to happen. We're going to talk about an outgoing first, or a potential outgoing, just based on the social media reams. By the
Risky.
time, well, we'll see in 2 days or not. Unfortunately, we do have an exclusive. Block pictures will no longer be associated with Gillingham Football Club. Unfortunately, there is a position now available if you'd like to email. But no, this isn't an exclusive or anything. We're just going around what we see on forums, the ever reliable forums, of course, and general chat from social media. And it seems to be, if there's one outgoing after Che that looks like it might be the most likely one, Tom, it looks like it may be Mr. Tom Nichols, who may be exiting Priestfield in the next coming days. Don't know that or not, Tom. If you listen to this and you don't stay, we didn't make it up. Or if you do stay, we didn't make it up. Always wanted you to stay. Get a shovel out. But yeah, Tom, what's your opinions on Nico if he does move on? The rumours are a move to Mansfield, obviously a team who are fighting for promotion up the upper end of League Two. We paid around £50,000, I believe, last January. He's, he did well last season. To the back end was a big part of why we survived. This season, much like we were talking about Shea earlier, hasn't quite hit the same heights this year. And maybe if it's a case of one out, one in the forward position, would you consider it to be a deal that would suit all parties? Would you have reservations over letting Tom go?
I think you're right with the one in, one out situation. And, with Nichols now, with Walker now coming in, we've now got 5 strikers on the books. Do we need 5? No, we need 4 realistically. So if you're looking at who would most likely be at the door with that in that situation, Nichols would probably be the 4 guy, having been here the longest out of those strikers. I do think that he hasn't kicked on this season to the impact that he had last season. He's not played every single game. Maybe if he played every game, he might have scored more goals, but he's not necessarily been just a goal scorer for us. He's also been a bit of a creator as well. So if he's not been getting the game time to do both of those things, and he's not been playing consistently and sort of putting it in there consistently, then maybe he will be the next to go. Maybe it's all maybe. Oh look, there is no. I think with Nichols, this season it has been a bit underwhelming from him, but maybe we are looking at obviously the impact that he made last season from signing from us in January, and maybe we expected him to really push on this season, but it hasn't been that way. And potentially he could be one that may attract interest from elsewhere. He's very much a League Two player, I think, and if Mansfield are the ones rumoured, Mansfield need goals right now. Whether it's directly from him or whether it's from his ability to sort of create goals. If he does go again, who knows? But best of luck to him. His impact last season for us can't be underestimated. It might just be that we're looking to bring somebody else in.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that point to you, Lewis. Again, if he does go, we do need to appreciate the work he did do from last January to the end of the season. Was the first player announced as part of the new regime under Brandon Shannon, so we'll go down in history in that sense. And he played a vital part in making sure we maintained our League Two survival last year.
Yeah, he did, and I'll always look back on Tom Nichols' career, whether he leaves now or whether he leaves in 5 years or whatever. I'll always look back and remember the second half of last season where he had a great partnership with Oliver Hawkins. Like you say, he was the first signing of the new era, and you'll always be thankful for those players that came in and helped us maintain our Football League status, I suppose. So, yeah, I'll miss him. I think he's, we've not seen the best of him. I don't know if he's necessarily had the best opportunities to see the best of him in terms of a run of games this season. But, you think back to a few of the creative moments he's had, even as recently as a couple of weeks ago against Accrington for Macaulay Bond's goal. It was a nice layoff to set that up. So I think it's a shame, but at the same time, I like them all individually, but our lack of goals, it has been a problem. Oliver Hawkins, not a goal scorer. Tom Nichols, not a goal scorer. And that's what we need, because it's been an issue for too long. So, I don't really mind. I think he could be someone that, if he does go to Mansfield, he could be someone that could walk into a better team and do better than he has here. But yeah, I think he's a really good player. He's definitely, worthy of playing at this level, and I'll miss him. But at the same time, it might be just a natural process of moving on if that does happen.
But on the flip side, James, say Tom Nichols announced he won't announce it. The club announces that he's gone tomorrow, and we don't sign another striker. We're left with the ones we currently have. Are you looking at that striking force without Tom Nichols? Are you feeling more satisfied, or you've been feeling a bit?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So it would be a
no
case
way.
If,
no way.
If Nichols was to go, we need someone else.
If it meant we were not to get another striker through that door, keep Tom Nichols. 100%. Because yes, Tom's not hit the heights that he probably wanted to do himself this year. I doubt he even wanted to. It's even gone this way. I doubt he wanted that himself, to be honest. But if you offered me Thursday at midnight, once the deadline's gone, that we were to let Tom Nichols go, but we weren't to sign another forward, I'd ask serious questions if that was to happen, in all honesty. I hope it doesn't. Tom, in all fairness, Lewis, I think you've hit the nail on the head. We can't thank Tom Nichols enough, because he's contributed to our Football League status. At the end of the day, him and Ollie had a massive part, because I'm not being funny. We were stuffed when Tom walked through that door. We were done. We were finished. And they played a part in keeping us up. Look, we can't even sit here and say that he don't want a beer anymore because we don't even know that. So it might be a case that Clements might look at it and just go, look, you know what, you don't fit my system. I can get another forward in that does. And if that's the case, then fine, whatever. But we've got to make, in answer to your question, if Tom goes, we've got to make sure that there's a striker that walks through that door just as good, if not better than him. In all fairness, there's no point signing someone that's not going to walk into the team. In all fairness, so yeah, I think that's the case for the football club that's got to be really.
We are going to be doing a January-based quiz very, very soon. Nick will be keeping tabs on the scores because I can't do it. But we're going to stay on the topic, it's just something to look forward to. And I want to ask the burning question, Tom, to you, and we'll go through it to everyone because it's something that has been very much requested to be asked. And if we don't talk about it, we'll get some very angry people on the internet, which is the worst thing in the world. But let's say, hypothetically, the window ends 2 days. Say we let Tom Nichols go. Maybe there's other movements that are, I don't want to say less important, but say Sean Williams, for example, leaves. That's more just a natural thing than something immediate. Jaden Clark not been in the squad a few weeks. Maybe he goes on loan. But we don't bring anyone else in. Would you consider this window to be a failure from those in charge? Not Stephen Clements, the recruitment team, especially given the summer and the fact that everyone wanted a proven goal scorer, which don't grow on trees. I've said this. You can't just. I think people will sometimes assume it's easy to just walk down the road and find Alfie May or Johnson Clark Harris, say, "Hello, do you want to come back to my club?" It doesn't work like that. It's very difficult.
Sounded a bit weird.
Get in the van. I've got a contract.
No, listen, like I think I've been saying it for the majority of the window. Really, is we don't expect as a general fan base, we expect this. And maybe we've gotten this so far in the eyes of a lot of supporters. I think when you mention the Clark Harrises, the Alfie Mays in the situation, even the Akinyemis, I know they've been mentioned, and all those sort of players that
Just one person.
just one person, yeah. No, I get it. Listen, it's a feasible option to have, but we have to understand that. In January especially, you go and try and get all these players that are mentioned, like Moasis gone to Exeter today. People are saying, why not him? The player's got to want to come. The player's got to want to fit in the system. The player's going to have to be viable financially. All of these things don't get mentioned when you talk about get him or go and get him. It's like, okay, but you've got to ask all the real questions underneath that. And unfortunately, that's what gets missed a lot of the time when we have these conversations on social media. And that's why the recruitment team gets slammed for not doing their job properly. But realistically, who's to know what they have to go through to try and sign a player? Like with Williams and with Hutton, we've gone to and we've usurped other teams signing him. Great, I love that ambition. But realistically, we almost lost our Football League status last season. We're not a top team in League Two in the sense of we can go and get anybody we like. So I still think that they've done a decent job so far in the window, the recruitment team. I don't know what else we're going to be looking for, but I do agree with you. People need to leave before we start to bring people in terms of the balance of the squad. If we sign another striker and keep Tom Nichols, we've got 5 strikers vying for 2 spots. Are we going to have an unhappy squad in that situation?
Look, I think that's where the frustration comes from when people talk about the recruitment team. It was, the Alfie May saga, I think, was very damaging to the reputation of the recruitment team, whether because you got this person saying this is what happened, you got another person saying this is what happened, you got this person saying like actually my nan walks Alfie May's dog and this is what happened. There's so many different variables to it in terms of what's the truth. We might not ever know. I know we obviously tried for him because Hessentide said so at the fans forum, but everyone sort of saw that saga and us being unsuccessful in it as a real backlog of criticism towards the recruitment team because we didn't get that on paper proven goal scorer. We still haven't got that technical proven goal scorer. So I think I'd expect if we don't sign one on paper in the next coming days, there will be questions asked of the recruitment team. Rightly or wrongly, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you, because on paper, some of the players we signed in the summer, Johnny Williams is this world who hasn't been great this year, should have been performing better than they have done. I don't think they were bad signings at the time. It's just not, for whatever reason, worked as we wanted it to. But you can't really, in my opinion, put that down to the recruitment team entirely, because these players are better than what they've proven so far. But what's your take on the recruitment team? Say, as I said to Tom, hypothetically, the window ends for us in terms of incomings where we are now.
I'd be disappointed if it ended now in terms of incomings, because first of all, I think I'm surprised that we haven't filled our loan quota, just 2 players on loan. I know Clements, someone said on the grapevine that he's not a massive fan of loans, but it seems like they're easier deals to do than permanent deals. Maybe you could find a, Tom Dixon-Peters-esque player that has done well.
Definitely don't want that.
Yeah,
I'd rather no one.
Yeah, but I just mean someone that potentially isn't proven this level, but could be, that hasn't done it yet. Obviously not Tom Dixon-Peters level. You want someone better than that. But
what's Charlie Kelman doing then?
Got injured.
But yeah, I think, I'd be disappointed because it's obvious that what our issues are and it hasn't been addressed. I think that was an issue from the summer. I think, like you say, the Alfie May saga has damaged the reputation a little bit. But then at the same time, there's recruitment that has been really good that is potentially brushed over because people, like you say, just want success now. Where, we signed Johnny Williams, we signed Romeo Hutton, Connor Mahoney, who, these players have had mixed time at Gills, but on paper they're great signings. And Shad Ogie, who's come from Leyton Orient, who I think is a fantastic player and
Friend of the channel.
Plug. Yeah, I think they've been really good astute signings. They're not perfect. If they were perfect, they'd be part of a recruitment team.
Let me follow up with a question, Lewis, because you mentioned the Mahonies and the Williams. People will look at, including me, look at Williams' stats this year and think he's not done well. If we had signed a goal scorer, like a natural goal scorer if you want, I think me and you are both agreement. We'd be certain that Johnny Williams would have a lot more assists than he'd have, because he'd have someone at the end of them who would be able to put them away. Maybe lacking that certain player in that certain area is the reason why others haven't really got to the best of their abilities this season.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Williams hasn't shone. Whether that was early doors playing out wide in a Harris system or playing out wide in a Clement system, whatever you want to say. But then at the same time, we were signing a good player who just hasn't hit the heights for Gillingham yet. I think, like you say, that strike force, which I suppose now there's 5 of them. I like Hawkins, doesn't score goals. I like Nichols, doesn't score goals. Bond, Addison, I like them individually, but they've not scored goals. And if you just wiped out our strike force and started again almost, would it be a completely different story? Potentially. So, the recruitment team have signed a ex-international player who's played some fantastic levels. He's, it's not their fault he's not hit the heights. It could be that situation with other people. And, the Alfie May thing's annoying because of all the rumours and stuff, and potentially what we ended up with compared to what we could have got. And, as long as they're not the ones leaking the rumours, they're just someone that's gone to sign a player, come close potentially, and it's not worked out. It's not their fault, all the talk that happens. It's just disappointing that one massive issue hasn't been addressed yet. So fingers crossed it is in the summer.
Yeah, James, put the same question to you then. If nothing happens between now and midnight on Thursday, no incomings, how are you feeling? How are you looking at it? And actually, to that point, if it was up to you, who would you be looking to bring in? Not in terms of personnel as in names, but positional. Unless you can think of a name.
No, not really. Just positional. I think we need another centre midfielder. Big time. I think there's, as well as the centre midfielders have done, I think we're missing a piece that almost sits between Coleman and Mahoney. I think we're missing that centre number 8. Is it the 8 position? I think a Charlie Lee type of player, throwing back to our sort of range, age range. Box to box midfielder, carries the ball really, really well, allows Mahoney to be where he's meant to be, because too many times on Saturday he's picking the ball up on the halfway line where that's no good. Like, I'm not being funny. Your number 10 should not be picking the ball up on the halfway line 50 yards from goal. You need him edge of the box where his best attribute is. And having a number 8 in there that can pick the ball off Coleman, give it to Mahoney, win tackles. I know Jeffries does it, but I was saying to the boys, you boys earlier, that I just feel with with Dom that he hits 65 minutes and he almost hits a brick wall because he's given 100% into the team. He then hits a stamina wall almost, and he just can't run anymore. It's not his fault. It's just that's his game. So that's what we're missing. We're obviously missing a striker, 100%. In answer to your other question, Owen, is it a failure if we don't pull anyone else in? To be frank, yes, it is, because I think the ambition of the football club is to want to at least get into the playoffs this season or be near it. And this current squad, I think for me, needs just one or two more to push yourself into it. We're as a squad, I think we're between 8th and 11th. I think that's round about where our ability is. We need one or two more to push it, and I think it would be slightly disappointing if we don't add any more come Thursday night. In all honesty,
it's exciting to be leading towards a transfer deadline day, and we will have a quiz coming for you in just a moment or two regarding past deadline day. So if you have any good memories, that'll be useful at this point in time. But as you would have seen on Jules' Twitter, Nick and Block were in attendance for the game at MK Dons on Saturday. Camera crew set up in the away end to see what they picked up. The full video will be coming very soon. But we have an exclusive on the Lookback Live. We're going to show you a little snippet of it right now, if Nick will take it away.
Yeah, pretty substantial number of Jules fans. They're going to be there today. Just 1,276. And all I'm taking back is a bag full of stubs.
Welcome back to the show. I just saw a little snippet there from Block Pictures in the away end of the MK Dons game. I think that's your first. Is it your first away game this season?
Yeah.
Yeah, great success rate. Cheers for that.
ever away game.
That's a part. Yeah.
Did you have fans with GoPros in the home game recently?
Yeah.
What was the score?
What?
What was the score?
Or what?
That game?
I've been all of them.
No, the ones you put the GoPros in the other day. With the fans, the chest cams or whatever they were. We gave people cameras and you edited it together. Was that a Sheffield United game?
Yeah.
What was the score? That went good, didn't it?
I thought I saw Nick getting chucked out that MK away end on Saturday.
This would work better if you had all pens and papers, but you're going to have to use your notepads, I presume. No one brought pen and paper with them.
You didn't tell us.
Didn't bring no. I don't carry pen and paper around with me to be quizzed.
Might do. Right, so this is a quiz all about. I might have to change my position because they're all very close, and I've got all the answers here.
We just lean forward a little bit, and we never can't see it, can we?
Could do that.
There you go. Or you can sit over there, away from us.
There's a massive mirror behind you.
Owen's gonna move.
This is live.
I'll go next
TV.
to you.
Blimey.
You're gonna go. Oh, cheers, Lewis. You can copy my answers though.
I wouldn't if I were you. I want to.
Why not?
Many reasons.
I hope I beat you lot now. Seriously.
I hope you do fine.
No, you can't stop being nice to me now.
Right. Martin. Am I ready to go, Nick?
Yeah, stop staring at me.
Right, everyone, welcome to the ME7 January transfer window / mid-season quiz. We couldn't do 10 questions on it because it's really difficult to make 10 questions about a transfer window. But alas, we've got five decent ones, I would say. So we've got 3 contestants. Man furthest away from me, what's your name? Where'd you come from?
Tom Jasper from Gillingham, sadly. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
James Hawkins from Chatham.
Yeah.
Lewis Browning from Raynham.
Lewis, you'll know, of course, on Twitter. You probably won't.
What did he say?
Don't repeat it.
Yeah.
Anyway, right, are you all ready for question 1?
Yes.
Right, this question, you get a point per correct answer. So, thanks a lot, mate. Yeah. So, in January 2019, do you remember the January transfer window deadline day? The power hour.
Yes.
But they were all not very good signings. So Steve Lovell signed 4 players on deadline day of January 2019. You get a point per correct answer, correct player. 4 in total. Get your answers down. I will come to you in 20 seconds. I've got this interlude. Nick, how's your day been?
Not bad.
Not bad, no. Busy?
Busy.
Any highlights?
Have you got 4?
I've got 4.
This.
Have you got 4?
Yeah.
Have you
Slow
got 4?
day.
No, I'm struggling.
I've got 3.
I got 7.
You've never heard of any of them.
Yeah, but neither have we. How bad they were.
They were bad, very bad. Apart from one, he was right. The rest were bad.
I think I'm in the wrong window.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What year do you think
Right,
you're in?
are we ready?
Have you all got answers?
20 seconds.
I've got
Is that-
3.
Go.
Well, I'll go with Lewis first.
Do you want me to name what I've got?
Yes.
All 3. Billy King, Graham Burke, Lopez. I can't remember his name.
James?
I've got the same, but then I've got Ricky Holmes.
So you've got the 2 that he
Yeah.
said.
The 3 that he said: Billy King, Graham Burke, Silva Lopez, Ricky Holmes.
One of them's really bad from you, considering I spoke to you about this earlier. Tom?
I've got Billy King, Leo da Silva Lopez, and Tavon Campbell.
Oh no!
But that's
So
only
the
3.
correct answers were, and Nick, I hope you're paying attention because I'm relying on you to count this up.
I heard Jennifer Lopez.
He's been here too long.
Yeah.
So the correct answers were, firstly, Billy King was not deadline day. He was a day before.
Oh yeah. I was the one who told you it. Why have I got Billy King?
Oh dear, this is not good then.
The 4 correct answers were Ricky Holmes. He had a great game for us on the training pitch. Leo da Silva Lopez, who was the half-decent one, scored a very good goal away at AFC Wimbledon in a 4-2 victory. Someone else who scored in that game, Graham Burke.
Yeah.
And the final one, I think, Tom, you only one to get this, Tavon Campbell.
Yeah.
I think combined, they scored 1 goal. Oh, no, Graham Burke scored 2 goals. 2 goals.
So, is it a point for each player?
Point for each correct
Are
one.
we scoring ourselves?
Please.
I would say so. Yeah.
I hate this.
3 points I've got.
If people are going to moan about this window, take a look at that window.
That's true. That is true.
You all ready for the second one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, scores on the doors.
2 for me.
2.
2. James has got a lead. This is a very bad quiz. Question 2. We made one deadline day signing in January of 2020. Who was it? Just the one. 20-second window. So, Nick, what are your plans for tomorrow?
Neither of you got it.
No.
Is it day off tomorrow or just today?
Yeah, not here.
Oh, you get a day off
Clearly
as
a
well.
very touchy
As you get
subject.
called in.
Unless.
Is it a big player for us?
I'm not telling you nothing.
I'm trying to think of
I've
a shirt
worked-
where they would have been.
I've not even got a name.
You will kick yourself. If I've got it right, because if I've got it wrong, it's a bit embarrassing.
10,
No, I've not even
9.
got one.
8,
No
7,
answer.
6, 5,
You got
4,
Yeah, but Daddy's right.
3, 2, 1. Lewis Browning.
Thompson.
From Jasper.
Charlie Kelman.
And he didn't have an
No,
answer.
I've not got
You were
one.
all wrong.
Damn it.
2021 was Ben Thompson. 2020, I won't blame you for not remembering it because the season obviously got cut off. But it was the first time we signed Jordan Graham on loan from Wolves.
Oh.
I thought Thompson was a
Really?
shoe-in.
I'm gutted.
I thought Graham was a summer signing.
He was a summer,
I'm not
he
doing
was
this
summer
again.
signing permanently, initially
Right.
on loan in the January. But obviously the season got cut off. So,
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Oh,
so scores on the doors, same as we.
3.
Doesn't count, we weren't there.
So 2 for Tom, 3 for James, 2 for Lewis. Question 3. Which returning star, this isn't we'll stress this isn't a deadline day sign, just a January. Which returning star made a comeback to Pre-Sealed in the January window of 2013?
J-Lo.
Which returning star?
20 seconds.
January signing.
Yes.
That's easy.
Is it? I hope so.
So, Nick, which animal in the animal kingdom do you reckon
Oh,
could knock out?
Yeah,
1 punch.
it is easy.
Armadillo.
You should get.
Armadillo.
Yeah.
You should get. We
quite
should all
spotty.
get this.
I should get it, yeah.
10, 9,
We've all got it.
8, 7, 6,
All right, we'll just sit in there.
5. All right, fine. Tom Jasper.
I hope it's Cody McDonald.
Kind of McDonald.
Cody McDonald.
Cody McDonald.
Love him.
So I'll go Tom on 3, James on 4, Lewis on 3. All right, Tom, you should. Tom, you should have an advantage on this one considering your age.
Because of my age, yeah. Great, cheers for that.
With
yeah.
respect.
Cheers for that boost. That was.
So this is quite an interesting one. Who is our record transfer signing in a January window? So a player we signed in a January window who cost us the most
But when we used to spend money on players. Okay.
in history.
How old do you think I am? This is the question.
Old enough.
Ashley Nelson.
Well, it's definitely pre-2000. 100%.
Says who?
Says me.
If you think so.
Because the last time we spent any big money before the Gallinsons come in was probably on Simon King, which was 2000 and...
But was it a January?
No, it wasn't in January.
It's unlikely I can tell you which players arrived in January.
20.
Summer.
19.
No idea.
18.
I feel the pressure on me now because he said I should get
16.
it.
15. 14. Just put a guess if you don't know.
Yeah, I've
13,
just done that. But
12.
it's not that.
11. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. Tom, who have you gone for?
I went Andy Barcham
Yeah, why?
because I'm sure didn't we loan him and then we signed him on a perm? But I'm now thinking from your faces to my left and your face to my right that we probably didn't sign him for a fee.
And not that big a fee, probably.
Well, you may have done, but it's not the answer.
I've gone for Carla Saba.
That was my serious answer, but I put Matt Olsen.
Joe, that's not even the most stupid question because I gave this to James early and he said Carter Saba and I said no.
Oh,
Yeah, but I didn't know if you were toying with me.
Did Matt not win against Man U 7-0?
It's not
A few
encouraging.
times, a few times.
The actual answer, what if I told you, Tom? None of you are going to get a point. Let's see if we can get it from this. It was 1997 for 250 grand.
I was 8.
So?
Great. Okay. 250, 1997. Yes.
You were 8? I thought you were like mid-40s.
Cheers.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
34?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I feel great, by the way.
Brilliant.
No, I don't know.
The answer is Adi Akinbaye
Oh, that guy.
from Norwich, I believe it was. But then sold him for nearly 1.2 million afterwards.
There we go.
Business that.
Still the same scores on the doors. Still me winning.
Yeah, it might stay this way actually. Which lone duo from Bournemouth at the time, they no longer play for Bournemouth, but they did at the time, did we sign on deadline day of 2017? So 2 players on loan from Bournemouth in 2017 deadline day.
I can name 3 players that we signed from Bournemouth around that time, but I don't know which 2 are the ones on deadline day.
This is a disaster.
Coming here, sadly.
Are you?
You're doing quiz questions. We're told.
Coming here to watch the new signings we're going to have in action.
Yeah,
Joke.
2017, yeah?
2017.
Or maybe a joke. I don't know. 2017.
No,
20.
not got it.
19. Hey, you'll get. I'll throw in a point if you get one of them. That might help you if you can think of 3.
Very generous.
Thanks. 15,
I'm pretty sure I've got the right ones.
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lewis?
Joe Quigley and Harry Cornick.
James?
I've got nothing.
I forgot we even had Harry Cornick.
Yeah.
He's good now.
My other one was Bailey Cargill, but I don't think that was January.
The answer was Joe Quigley, and Harry Cornick.
Well played, Lewis.
Well played.
That's a very good answer.
Thanks.
Very good answer. So, Tom, you're on 2, James on 3, Lewis has
4.
catapulted. Have you?
Yes.
Where'd you get 4? 4. All right.
Yeah.
Let me check.
I got 3 points
5.
for the.
Yeah, because Cody and then those 2, you've got 5, yeah.
All right. Right, that was all the questions for January because
Thank God for that.
it's quite difficult to find questions that either you might know or weren't very obvious. So these last questions, last 5, are related to this season. Yes, 5. This is going to be one where whoever gets the closest to, I will give the point.
Oh my god.
So, including the Sutton game and including the MK Dons game and all the ones in between, this is also including the Sheffield United game in the Cup,
So Sutton, Colchester, Sheffield United, MK Dons.
if that's the order between the 2, yeah.
That is.
Then yes.
Yep.
How many shots have we had in all those games combined?
What, did you say all games or just time games?
All of them. Not shots on target, just shots.
Colchester.
I'm gonna go that many.
You know we can't see it all, right?
Thinking out loud, mate.
All right, then, Sheeran.
Right, if you want to tell me when you've got an answer instead of counting down.
Got an answer.
Got an answer.
Tom,
I now have an answer.
go on it.
98.
James,
60.
Lewis.
90.
87.
Closest is James. Correct answer is 77.
What did James say?
60. You both said 90.
Does that count balls that
Lewis
bubble
is the
through to the
closest.
keeper?
What did you say?
90.
Oh shit, you are.
Good maths,
Yeah. Technically, Nick is the closest. No, Lewis is the closest. Well done, Lewis.
Thanks.
You're on 6 points. Lewis.
Yep.
6 points.
Can he be caught?
Dunno.
With 4 questions left, he could, but he might not. So, next question is: Josh Walker made his debut this. Well,
Go.
wait, we find that maybe.
I know this.
Josh Walker made his debut this past weekend, but what squad number has he been given?
Got that. On the money.
I don't know.
I know it. Do you know?
Yeah, squad numbers I can do.
You have to go. You have to give a guess, Lewis.
No, I should know this. I'm going to kick myself.
No, that's not him. That's not his squad number. Oh.
Nick's got it.
Oh, no.
Did you?
You picked it.
I know the first one. I wanted 3.
We all got an answer.
Yep.
Tom,
47.
James,
47.
Lewis,
40.
47. Yeah, they're back in the game.
I'm disappointed in myself.
So Tom and James on 4, Lewis on 6. 2.
I'm on 5, mate.
He just said 4.
No, he didn't.
He's on 5, yeah.
There's 3 questions left in order to catch the chaser. Right, on the topic of Che Alexander, you may have seen this question coming from what I was saying earlier. He departed this week. Bye-bye, Che. How many games did he play in total for Gillingham? This is according to Wikipedia, so I'm assuming it means all competitions.
God.
The club said this in their official statement.
Did you read it?
I think that's where I've got my number from, yeah.
And I questioned it in my head, so now I've got it committed to memory.
Well, I will not be taking the club statement. I'll be taking the Wikipedia answer.
I'm going to adjust it then.
Yeah.
But I am going to quickly Google it just to see what the club said and see if it's the same. Nick, can you provide some background music while I'm doing this, please?
Dun, 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 dun.
He played majority of second half of last year.
Yeah, those numbers are very different.
Which one are we going on?
I think the club's one is all competitions, and I think Wikipedia is just league.
So which one are you asking for?
Just league. I'll do my one.
Boo.
But I will say it's a bit different. Lower than yours one. I'll let you have that.
I'm going to go that.
We've all got an answer. Tom?
Pretty sure the club said 76.
James?
I've gone well lower than that. I said 53.
Lewis?
I thought the club says 72. I've gone 57.
Lewis is the closest. Wikipedia states 59.
What have you gone for?
57.
But the club site did say 76. So
Okay.
I'm taking that as a moral victory then. That one.
The club said 76.
Trust the club.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you trust the club?
well, Wiki's never wrong, is it? I'll just edit it myself for 76 later.
We'll let the viewers decide that one.
And that put scores on the doors as Nick.
7. 5.
I don't know what I am anymore. I'm taking a moral 5.
Right, it's two questions left. James, the best you can do is draw. Lewis, you just need to get one more right to win. 8. So, I won't take the closest answer on this because it was said in a press conference. And if you're there, you should know. So I need the exact answer. How many Gillingham fans attended the away trip to Colchester?
Got it. It was said by our director of operations on his social media account.
Oh, I got it from Robbie Stockdale saying it.
I got it from Wikipedia.
I got it from Joe Compter.
See background music.
We will an answer?
Yeah.
Tom?
I put 1,240.
James?
998.
Lewis?
1,350.
Oh, it's going to be tanked, Martin. The last question, because James is correct. 998.
I'm seeing that now.
Because Stephen Stockdale, Robbie Stockdale.
Stephen Stockdale. That's a new one.
He did his post-match and he moaned asking where the other two were. So it's going to be a nice round number. But it was awesome. So it could go to draw, in which case I'll make a tiebreaker question.
You're on 6.
I'm on 6 points.
Tom, you can answer this if you want, very much point.
So, I'm older than I look.
Yeah. And now you're thick.
I am too, that's true. Very true. Must be the age.
In which fixture did Ollie Hawkins make his return from injury?
One I actually know, but I can't answer.
He can if you want. I'll just ask you last.
God, that's cool.
Got to be that.
Lewis looks perplexed. Pressure's got to.
Yeah, I know
It
it.
has, it has.
I know it.
Can I have a... How long...
His veins are popping out.
Have you seen it, Tom? Yeah.
Is he right? Oh, no.
Could be.
I kind of hope you get it right, 'cause I haven't got a tiebreak question in mind. I'll have to...
I might have it.
Don't ruin it. Let's think of a tie break.
I might have it. We'll see if
Have you
I've
got it?
mate.
Shall I go?
Lewis, what have you gone for?
Bradford.
Bradford at home.
Bradford at home.
No. No.
Get in.
Oh.
God.
So that brings the quiz to the end for this show. The winner, Lewis Browning.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
You can send your congratulations to Lewis over on
Thank you,
Twitter
mate.
if he hasn't blocked you. But yeah, I suppose we should. How long have we been live for?
4 hours?
An hour and a half. Probably a good time to round it up then, gents.
We've got one viewer.
We've got one viewer. Good. Thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
Cheers, Brad. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's round it off then. So yeah, we look forward to the game coming up this weekend at Priestfield against Walsall. Look a bit more serious. We are back in every 7 for the home fixture against Walsall this Saturday. Everyone who wasn't able to join us live today or was joining us looking to watch the FA Youth Cup game, we can only apologise. But yeah, we're back in a month or so to look back on the month of remainder of, well, would be February at that point, and what we've done in January. But yeah, thanks everyone tuning in. Thank you for our sponsors today. And until next time, up the Gills. Good night.